Okay, so before we start this Culture of the Universe, I just want to say two things. One, last time on Culture of the Universe, we added a poll so that you could vote for the next episode of Culture of the Universe. Now, we've moved the poll from in the mailing list email to in the comments section of the video. So if you scroll down below the video, you'll be able to click a link in a pinned comment I wrote, and that link will take you to the poll where you can vote and help choose the next Culture of the Universe episode. Second, is that check below the video and see if you're subscribed, because if not, try to subscribe because it really helps out the channel. Now, let's get into this Culture of the Universe. Hello, my name is Jacob Abramovich, and you are watching Culture of the Universe. On this episode, we're going to talk about antiques. What an antique is, the types of antiques, where you can get antiques, and more. So stay tuned to this episode of Culture of the Universe. Okay, so an antique is any item over 100 years old that's in its original condition. So that means that I can't take a 100-year-old clock, take the insides out of it, so the mechanism out of it, and put it in a brand new clock and say it's an antique clock. I could say it's a clock with an antique mechanism, but not an antique clock. So speaking of antique clocks, now we're going to talk about types of antiques, and one type of antique are clocks. So the last clock you just saw was my antique Seth Thomas banjo clock, and this is my antique grandmother clock. Two other types of antiques are stamps and coins. Here are some really old stamps I have, and here are some coins. So coins are a really cool antique to collect. Coins, though, are more of a collectible than an antique, but some coins are over 100 years old, meaning there are some coins that are considered antique. Another extremely important type of antique are furniture. So this is a really old table. It's a really, really pretty hand-carved antique table. And then this is basically a really old antique desk. They call these Governor Winthrop desks. Another really cool type of antique are surprisingly plates. There are a lot of really, really stunning antique china plates. They're all always handmade and hand-painted. And again, for them to be considered an antique plate, they need to be over 100 years old. Now I'm going to talk about a few examples of antiques that are kind of in a just category of like other. So this is a old Paymaster check machine. So this, you set whatever number, and then literally you put in a piece of paper, and normally they'd have like a template, and you'd have to put this in the right way, and then you use the little crank and you pull it down, and then you get this. With the right template, this would look a lot like a real check. Now this is an old ship's lock. So this is an old captain's lock. So this would have been in locking up the door that the captain sat in, like the captain's quarters. I don't know if this is a real one, but I do know that at least it's a really good looking replica and it looks cool, but a real one would have looked something like this. Now these are some really pretty old Russian pins. So these are all hand painted and they're just really, really pretty pins. So now we're going to talk a bit about where you get antiques. So you get antiques basically at an antique store. So all around the world they have little stores where you can basically get any type of antique you want. A lot of the footage you see here that looks a bit like this, I shot those in antique stores. So, now it's the end of this Culture of the Universe. I hope you enjoyed this one. I definitely enjoyed making it. So, now, Jacob Abramovich out.